Hi, how you doing? Justin here. Welcome to BC-105, how to make the most of your practice time. Now what I've done for this lesson is I've made Justin's top 10 practice tips, and I'm just going to run through them a little bit with you and make sure that you're clear about what it means, because some of them maybe seem a little bit weird. First one, practice what you can't do, don't practice what you can. Everyone's guilty of this. They get the guitar, they've only got 10 minutes to do a bit of practice, so what do? They pick up the guitar and they play the thing that they can already play, like their favourite riff or their favourite song. Not going to do you very much good. It'll maybe help you play that song very slightly a little bit better, but when you practice, generally what you should be doing is practicing the stuff that you can't do, working on those things that you struggle with the most. I know it's not quite the most fun, but that's how, if you really want to get good at the guitar, you practice the things that you can't do, don't practice the things that you're already quite good at. Okay, tip number 2. Never practice making a mistake, right? So if you're getting it wrong, stop doing it. Figure out how to do it the right way. Usually this is about speed. Yeah, if you're making a mistake, you're probably doing it too fast. So just if there's something that you're doing wrong, stop doing it, work out how to do it the right way. Every time you practice doing something the wrong way, you're ingraining that mistake and making it harder for you to do it the right way. So if you can, never ever practice mistake. Really, really bad idea. Okay, that kind of leads on to tip number 3, which is play perfectly slowly before you speed it up. Now, a lot of guys really struggle with this, especially you young whippersnappers out there. Yeah, anyone under the age of about 18 really struggles with this. You have to learn to practice slow. If you're learning a new scale, a new arpeggio, a new chord, do it slowly. Really slowly, like a snail slowly, because if you're trying to do stuff fast, you'll end up making mistakes and then doing it wrong. I mean, I see students all the time that do something wrong and I go, that wasn't right, do it again, and they try and do it faster, like that's going to help. You're in a racing car and you go around a corner, right, and the corner's a bit tight and you screw it up and you go off the track, right? So you think, the next time you come up to that corner, what are you going to do? You've got a choice. You can either go even faster, or you could slow right down and take it carefully and kind of see what way to do it. I mean, it's so obvious, but it's hard. I definitely suffered from that when I was learning guitar. I always wanted to do stuff too quick. But as you get older and you see everyone making mistakes, I'm not trying to make myself out to be too much of an old man, but it is really important that you do stuff slowly, get it right, and only when you can do it right and you're confident that you're doing the right way should you speed it up. So always practice doing things slowly. You young guys really try and take that to heart, you know, because it really will make a difference on how quickly you develop on the guitar. The young guys that heed that and really work on getting stuff right and then speed it up, they learn so much faster, twice as fast probably as the guys who ignore that advice. So beware of that one. Okay, tip number 4, a timer saves time. A little bit ambiguous, might be seem a little bit weird. What's that all about? Okay. What I mean is, when you're practicing, use some sort of timing device, either your watch or get a, use a timer on your iPhone or some sort of egg timer or whatever. But if I say, as part of the routine, practice doing this chord change for 5 minutes. A lot of people go, okay, well it's 5 minutes, and they go, and look at their watch and they go, oh yeah, it's 5 past now, okay. And then they kind of spend 2 minutes looking for their book, and then a minute finding it, and then a minute tuning the guitar up, and then they practice it for a minute and look at their watch and go, oh, I've done 5 minutes practice. No, you haven't. What I mean is, if you're going to practice 1 minute chord changes, right, for example, and you're supposed to practice it for 5 minutes, you get your folder out, you check out what chords you're supposed to be changing to and from, you check them out a little bit, make sure you got it, you get your timer out and you set that to 5 minutes, and then you go start, and for 5 minutes you're just doing that. You don't think about making a cup of tea, going to the toilet, answering the phone. While you're doing that 5 minutes practice, just do that 5 minutes practice, right? I don't know about you, there's not that many people in the world that or things that I have to answer the phone right away. If I want to practice for 5 minutes and then call them back, I can, it's not like most of us don't have that kind of heavy duty stuff going on. Maybe some of you Secret Service agents or something do, but not normal people. Anyway, okay, Justin's little practice tip number 5 is focus on one element at a time. That's really important. Your brain can only think of one thing at a time, right? So don't try and practice and be trying to focus on too many different areas that you're playing at the same time. Always be thinking about one particular thing. Be working on your picking, be working on your fretting hand, be working on getting that new chord right, trying to get your rhythm groove right happening on that. And while you're concentrating on that, if something else starts to go wrong, I mean, you by all means try and fix it, but try not to spread yourself too thin and be trying to think of doing too many things at the same time, because it doesn't work, right? So if you're working on your rhythm and your chord gets a bit sloppy, don't worry about the chord being a bit sloppy, just keep working on your rhythm. Then once you got your rhythm right, then move your attention over and try and sort the chord out as well, right? Try not to spread yourself too thin, particularly when you've got a practice session that says 5 minutes you're working on your rhythm guitar. Right, work on your rhythm guitar. Doesn't matter if the chord changes are a bit loose or one of the chords is a bit buzzy. Don't stop and practice it now, right? Because you're doing your chord change stuff. Yeah. Now, I know a lot of this might seem a little bit too regimented for a lot of you guys, but I'm just trying to explain the way that I think that you can make the most of your time when you're practicing, right? So, you know, it doesn't fit. You know, if I'm practicing and I'm on holidays or whatever, you know, and I'm chilling out on the beach, I don't have a stopwatch. I play what I feel like when I feel like it, right? But just as a general, I'm trying to give you some general little hints here. Okay, number 6, try and practice a little bit every day. I've already mentioned this a little bit, but really do try and get, we'll say, like 6 days a week or whatever. Try and get your practice consistent rather than having just a thing where you're trying to do like a whole load of practice on one day, right? That's not a good idea. So see if you can get a little bit of practice done every day. Really proper good idea. If I know I've got to do something and I think it's going to take an hour for me to learn it, I don't know, practice up a solo or whatever, I tend not to do it in one block. I'll do it, you know, in a few 15-minute sessions or whatever, instead of trying to do it all at once. It makes a difference. You learn stuff better. Justin's practice tip number 7, try and keep a practice schedule. So keep a record of what you practice when. Aside from anything else, it's a really good self-motivational ass kicker, right, to keep you keeping an eye on how much you practice. I know a lot of the time as a private teacher, my job is as much motivational as anything else. It's trying to make sure that people are doing their practice and doing the right thing. Obviously in this internet kind of based lessons, I can't do that. I can't keep an eye on you. You have to do it, right? So keeping a practice schedule where you tick the boxes every time when you practice something is a really good way for you to be able to kick your own butt and see, like, oh my god, I haven't like practiced, I've done only 2 practice sessions all week or whatever, you know. So having a practice schedule is a really good way for you to keep an eye on your own progress, right? Especially writing down how many changes you do in the 1-minute changes. The writing it down part is the bit that helps keep you motivated. So I wish I could be sitting there helping keep you motivated into it, but I can't be, so you have to learn a bit to do it yourself, you know. But if you really want to play guitar, you'll do it. So that's a good idea. Okay, a couple of these these last ones are a little bit more kind of advanced, maybe not that useful for beginners, but it's important for you to know them. Number 8 is, if it sounds good, it is good. So if you know, if something's pleasing to the ear, you're doing something right. And that also goes the other way. If it doesn't sound very good, it's not right. So if you're playing a chord and it sounds really weird, then you're not doing it right. So, you know, you've got to believe a bit in your ears, and you know, sometimes you'll find that something can sound really cool even though it's not quite right. Well, then that's cool, you know. It's good to find these things that sound nice, you know, particularly when it comes to improvisation later on in the course and stuff, and you're making up solos. Just listen, let your ears decide if it's good. Sometimes you'll hit a note that's not the right note, it's not in the scale that I say you should use, but it sounds cool anyway. Great, it's good, don't worry about it. Yeah, the theory sometimes can get a little bit messy where you have to do this and you should do this way and you should use that finger and all of this. Well, yeah, it can be kind of helpful, but don't take it as you know, gospel. It's not. These things are the gospel. What it sounds like, that's the most important thing that you got to remember. Okay, number 9 here, and we're running almost out of my 10 minutes. I've got a little timer down here to remind me, because 10 things, 10 lessons, 10 tips. Playing and practicing are very different. So make sure you're really aware of the idea of the difference between practicing and playing. Practicing, you're thinking about what you're doing, you're trying to get something right, and you're trying to develop a particular skill. When you're playing, none of the rules apply. When you play, you shouldn't be thinking about anything. You should just be letting it happen, letting all of those, your natural things develop, just going for it, playing, right? That's really important that you practice playing as well. Don't just practice practicing, no good. And the last thing I want to leave you with, which is number 10, quite an advanced thing, the more you think, the more you stink. You have to practice. The whole idea of this practicing and trying to do it as much as you can is to practice until it becomes instinct and you naturally play the chords and you don't have to think about it. So that's Justin's top 10 practice tips. Hope you enjoyed that. There'll be some more info up on the website. I'll see you all for another lesson very soon. Bye bye.